So we're going to go ahead and attack this canvas here. It's 28 by 22. I've base coated it with some medium white with a touch of light gray and a touch of medium beige here. It comes close to what we have here in the painting. So I've set my painting up here for reference at about the same height and stuff. I'm not going to really truly copy this painting here. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, I'm going to take some artist license with some of this stuff, and especially since Couchoir is so casual, I really highly suggest you do that so you don't put yourself into a copy mode, okay? Normally this is a painting like this. He paints it very quickly. He does it direct, alla prima. Direct means that you really don't do any layering. It's just wet into wet, or he'll let some of it tack up for a certain amount, and so he can lay on other colors. You can tell that by really studying the photo, the thickness of the paint. And as he's applying more petals, you see it get thicker and thicker and thicker. The paint get thicker and thicker. And that's a classic impression oil technique that he is doing. I've studied Couchoir for a number of years. I've been painting him for a long time, and I've went over to Europe and studied his paintings, how much paint he uses and everything. It's absolutely brilliant, and that's one reason why I wanted to put a couple of lessons in here, because his techniques change over time as he's studying with Eugene Pettit and some of his earlier instructors. I do this a lot in landscapes when I set a horizon and stuff. Some people use tape and stuff, and I don't. I use a bar that I measured up. Sometimes I'll use a T-square so I don't have to make the marks, but this works fairly well like that. So that'll put the plinth lines on. And of course, his plinth is all broken up here, so we'll break this line so it's not absolutely perfect out here. And to that phthalo blue, I'm just going to add a little bit. Doesn't take too much. I'm going to add a little bit of my carbon black, which is the PBK7, and we'll add this right into here, and you'll get that Prussian blue, that beautiful, and I'll take it out thin here, and you can see that change of that color. So what you're going for is basically when you take it out, you get that. This is your original blue here. Okay, and so that's the blue of Prussian blue of the original PBK7, or excuse me, PB60. And so we'll use that, and we'll come in, and we're just going to start stating in some of our real darks. Now, also, as you put this on, and I'm going to go right up into the floral up here too. As you put this on, when you look at the pattern here, you can really see the flat side that he did when he turned around and he pulled that light color that I talked about in the prep video right down through there. He really flattened that out. So I've been thinking about it, and I am going to correct that. I decided I'm going to correct that. It's yourself. This is, we see it. We see the problem on it. He is, not going to let that affect his painting in any way whatsoever. And so I'm going to go ahead and correct that. And then, if you want to do something, more his way, more casual and leaving it like that, that's fine. But a bit here just to see where that light strike is going to be, and maybe up here just a bit more right in there. Boom. And we'll just leave that for right now. We know that helps us with our light. We'll have a light right along the edge of our foot here, and it'll be heaviest, of course, right in line with the light source here. But and I got that a little heavy, so I just take a little dark and paint it back out a bit. Stuff very much to the even light, as opposed to the chiaroscuro, the light to dark that the Dutch did, that we worked on with that. So he did that. Now I'm going to express a little bit of light right here, and grab a bit of blue, because that is what he's doing on this side. Doesn't make too much sense, other than Fantin Latour did stuff like that. That's why I'm thinking, yeah, he's looking at Fantin Latour. and push some of that right in here, even though most of this gets covered up by, a flower bouquet that's over there. So we express a little bit light. It's got to happen, okay, because this is the the light side and the light coming down through there. So that's got to happen. You got to carry color. So let's carry some of that shadowy tone right down in here, right into that background. Look what it does into that background. That's really pretty. And it harmonizes everything, right? Pulls your colors together. Gets a little bit of that harmony in there. There we go. Just let that ease in. And so as you come working this all up through here, right up through here. Now we have some other flowers and stuff and our benchmark flowers in there. We'll have to kind of keep our eye on here. But he would let some strikes of blue. If you look back up here, back by these white flowers, you pick up just a little bit of that blue in there. Not too much of a problem. Now you can, after you get all of this done right in through here, the most important part, of course, is all down in through here. We've got all of this other stuff in there looking pretty nice. But you can dry this and, at any time and put your pattern back on here. It doesn't, we don't really need, we don't need super wet color. Matter of fact, we can block some of this in and, and if you have to stop at any time, you can. He is a alla prima, a direct painter, but he doesn't really work wet into wet too much. He lays color right up on top of the other, which is really the true alla prima. They don't blend. They lay color. They lay tones on stuff, and so that's what he's doing there, with these guys here. So let's come in here and let's just take a look. So we're coming down here, and I'll have the smaller red ones and stuff like that, and that's the pink one that's coming there. And I have some white ones, a white, and this is the first red one. I made the color mark on here, and this one is the first red one. That's where that red area is going to be. And I might just take a color note. This is one thing that you can do. This is one thing that I do in a lot of my paintings, techniques that I do, is I'll take a softer, and I'm going to take some of my naphthol red light, and we're going to tone that down. And he is a cad red painter, basically, and so that's a perfect color there. I'm just going to tone that down till it's a little softer. It's right in here. This is our big red flower here, and I'm just going to put a color note there so I know that that's where that red one is. And we know that basically this whole area here, now you can put your pattern on too if you want, but I don't want to do that. And I'm just going to let the edges here come out because I'm going to actually paint inside of what this painting is. One smaller one right there. And that red might be climbing a little hot, but that's what I say is I'll take background, especially after this dries out, and use background to help adjust my pattern any way that I might need to. So let's take a soft red. There'll be white right up in through here. Soft red. That'll be a pink one and some yellows up through here. Let's just put a pinky white mark right up there. That's a little bigger than what it is, but no guts, no glory here. Let's just keep going here. And the red problem, you can see that right now in the painting that I'm doing here. You can see red moving through the composition here pretty nice, except right into this corner here. And so that's why he's turning in and grabbing that. Now our question becomes, now that we know that and we see that, do we emulate him exactly, or do we put in a correct kind of color? And so you see I get some red. Let me get it over there a little bit more proper to its value here. But I get some red into there, and that kind of satisfies that eye, coming up over here. You get some of that red that's through here that you're picking up into some of those other tones and stuff. So you're seeing red over there. When you have that dark contrast, like I said earlier, when you have dark contrast here and see that nice granulation that comes there, that's so easy to get with acrylics. it's really easy to get. It's not as easy to get with oils. But those dark color notes will make all of my yellows and stuff look, quite a bit different. So he put some of this on. You can look at the layering of it. He put some of this on now. He put some of it on later. I'm going to lighten this up just a bit. Just a bit over there. Put on just a few of these notes here. And not really going to work the lower front there yet, but we can add some additional yellow up here. Gets a little bit of yellow oxide, a little bit of the Hansa into this. Get up so it's just a bit more yellow, even quite a bit more yellow here of this. And this is not really that important because it is already the same value. It's the dark notes that you really want to kind of catch a few of, because see, that really changes that whole expression back up into that area there, controlling a lot of the other colors to the paintings. And then we'll start building our flowers. I'll start building the flowers up into the main area there. Probably how I attack it, that's what he normally does. Build up those flowers, and then what I'll do is start stepping out, and we'll start using some of our bristles and start setting up our flowers. But if you want, if at any time you can, like I say, you can dry, put on a reference flower, anything like that. I would like you to try to do it without doing that, because that will work better, for you in the long run as an artist. I just take some of, here's my extra color that I have here, and I don't mind it getting a little dirty like this, because like the white is so opaque and stuff, it can absorb these colors and not change its color, so it's really good that way. And so I'll save that white, and I put the little lid on these little guys here, and like I have with all of them. I have also today is I put mine into its frame. Now I wanted to do this just because I want to work this one in the frame so I can look at it balanced. I still can't believe that Martha got this frame for $15. It's just really, really nice. But I'm going to be relating it to here. So as I'm painting something, I might change something just a little bit, and I'll let you know what it is that I'm doing. I'm probably going to use a little bit lighter flowers than what he is showing and stuff, just to get a little bit more so I can compete against this frame. I think the frame does it very, very beautifully, and I want to watch just how I'm popping out my colors and stuff as I get going here. Tone this down just a bit here. Great. Tone it down just a bit. We're going to have a pinky one that's going to go right in here, and then we'll have another one right in here, and another one that's going to show up right in here. So what I'm really doing more than anything else is putting some movement in and out. Just go in and out like this, and we're not looking for the edges and stuff like that. We're just looking for some movement and to get some more paint. And you can see now, with as much paint as I'm putting on this right here, how much this is advancing off of my canvas, off of my surface right now. So I want to do that. I'm going to put just a little bit of that color right down in here. I'm always kind of watching where's the focus, where's the center part of my painting is going to be. But nothing is really getting as much paint as this guy is right up in here, this one, and these edges of this one right over here. But you can see just by putting that nice texturizing paint. Now I'm not making the petals yet, but I'm just getting the movement. You can see some of the movement now happening in the flowers. That is really kicking them out and really giving some nice movement. We'll cool this down. Let's take this down just a bit farther here. Paint that's going to come right into this red one. That's going to be right in here. That will help push some of this white one forward, which this white is going to help our red push forward and going to give us a little bit of layering here. So we can get that in there. Maybe there's going to be little touches of that red. I'm just going to don't stiffen yourself up trying to copy something. Just loosen it up and get yourself an idea of it, and we'll go from there. That let's look. He doesn't, he doesn't have any out there on that one. And, like I say, I think that is because he made a mistake in his color movement. Not a mistake. He just get wrapped up in some of the shapes sometimes, and he caught it. But I would love to see a little bit of shadow like right in here. See what that does, especially for that light? See how that just really pushes that forward there in that light? So I'll put a little bit there. Just so that you know, his doesn't have that. But that's what I want you to do, okay? There are paintings that I do and pieces that I consider as what I call they're kind of like my signature series, things that I do that mark different positions in my career, how I'm changing and how I hopefully am growing as an artist and what my journey is. And sometimes in those paintings, years later, I see mistakes. Well, a lot of times I'll see mistakes. Most people won't notice it, but you as the artist, as your eye begins to mature and you grow a little bit more as an artist, excuse me, you will see those things. And most people won't see those things. And hopefully you will find those things, because that means that you're growing, I don't let it worry me, because it doesn't affect the painting overall. At the end, it doesn't affect anything. So I don't let it worry me too much. More greens, burnt siennas, maybe a little yellow, and cool it with some of your red violet. But like right down in through some of these notes, you'll see the white flower come up over it. And if something's a little stiff and stuff like that, you can drag, and you can see that right over on this edge, like right in this flower right in here. Blow that up on your computer and look at that dragged edge that he does right there, right in there. And you'll see that, and he'll see that come through, carry a little bit of this color down onto our container here. Break that up a bit. There, it's real pretty. You just, carry some of those colors down and work those colors into your container. We'll sink some of this in with the lighter colors that we're going to be doing. We'll cool off, put a little extender in that, starting to tack just a bit into our blues and stuff here. Let's just carry some of that. On these, pink and white flowers, boy, never hurts to just carry some color and just kind of tap it around a bit. Let's even get a little bit of red where that center's going to be. There. Get light, get airy. You can push things in and out. It'll just make them pretty by carrying the color like that. It just makes them pretty. And so now let me just, so I am getting a nice granulated edge here, which means that, I'm going to rinse this color out. I'm going to work on this white flower here for a second. Now he would use the bristle and like a nice bristle round like this. And I'll show you that here for a couple of petals. But I might use my synthetic as well, in and out. And part of that reason is because a nice stiff bristle, will set up a pattern if you're not careful, okay? Whereas, so if I plan on painting some of my flowers or some parts of the flowers with my synthetic, and parts of my flower then or final little strokes and lights with the bristle, I'll get two different looks, and I'll get a lot more interest to it. Does that make sense? And it's something that you don't really see me do in a lot of my paintings today that I really could. I usually try to paint with fusions when I'm painting all the flowers and my particular types of techniques. It's all about edges, and it's one of the things that I've been saying in the floral painting from the very beginning. It's all about edges, and edges are what we use as artists to drive interest and stuff. And so it's whatever's going to give you the greatest variety of your edges. And was to try both. Some of you will like the bristle. The bristle is the older and more, I want to say it's the more historical way of doing it. So the brush that I use here, the synthetic, they didn't have synthetics back in his day. So they didn't have that type of hair. It wasn't made yet. So he's doing it this other way. So both of them work great. So here I'll pull in and out here. I like the in and out from the synthetic, and of course I've painted synthetics all my life, so I can control them really easy. But the bristle works, gives you a whole different effect, and combining the two works really great as well. You know, just combining the two around work really great. So out some of it out, so it's not quite so big. So you see it like another flower back in there. That's how you do it. So let's just get some ideas of this coming out here. Here we go. Nice little flower there. And some lighter ones. Here, a little lighter. Lots of, you know, and he does these stabs pretty darn quick. Sometimes a couple of rows of them onto a flower around here. Let's get just a bit of our red, violet, and our green into that to tone it down and cool it down just a bit. Smash that right down into there. You can negative paint into your other flowers here too. So he's got a real nice little pointed petal. I do like that on this one. So I'm just going to show you. Just paint out. Take that out there like that. Okay. And well, I'm not even going to clean my brush. I'm just going to pick up some of my pink and some of my light here. Use the chisel and point that one out just a bit like that. See, it makes a little different flower there. A little different shape. And this is the beautiful thing that I want you to realize, that you can go through and change anything into your flowers. I can come back here into my whites and my blues up there a bit and change some of that, you know, and you know, it's a beautiful, his style is very beautiful, very casual. You can change a lot of stuff. I'm just going to take a little bit of my Prussian here, a little darker Prussian there, Dave. Gray that just a bit here, and make there's a little bit of marks here, which is actually, you know, for the center, which he paints mostly out. But I really feel that some of these flowers need kind of like a center. Right? They just don't have that much of a center. Now, you know, of course, you're looking at a lot of chrysanthemums and stuff. They don't have a center. They just have layers of petals. But just some movement in and out here. Keep using more of the side of my brush here, because I want to keep it soft. It's going to sit back behind a stem and stuff here. So that just says some nice soft movement there. And he doesn't really have this, but I'm going to give it just a bit of more light up there by the top. Just a bit of light movement. I like using the sides of the brush when I'm out by the edges or moving out away from the center of interest. I like to do that. I'm going to make that just a bit lighter up there. A few little touches around. I can control that red movement there a bit more, and I started, you know, when I saw that that's what they did, when I learned this from Couchois, that really opened up a lot of doors for me in the flowers that I do now. So I paint out, and that's where the technique that I use so much in so many of my books and DVDs and everything, negative painting, all came from, was basically watching what the Impressionist painters, Couchois and Petit and all those guys, what they were doing, you know, with some of those colors and stuff, and their technique and their flowers, painting in and out. And I noticed they paint in and out all the time. You know, for me, it was coming from decorative painting, and we would, once we established our background, we'd never go back into that background again. And now these guys do it all the time. And then I thought, okay, So they're kind of doing that all the time. Why did I just touch black? I didn't mean to do that. And so I just put out a little bit of that. That's kind of nice. Let's take some of that burnt sienna, a little bit of our Prussian, a little bit of our violet color, burnt sienna into that Prussian. I'm going to model a little red into that as well, because I like that richness that comes from modeling into some of that red. Let's come right back out here and get real wispy here. And I'm going to bring this in. There's a red flower he has in there that I'm not going to be able to sneak in because I was a little too close. So, unless I moved it out a little further. I'm going to put, when things dry down, I always go back and revisit some of my center of interest flowers there. I'm going to get a little bit more of a red-orange here. A little Hansa and some of my red, some of my dirty brush here too. And just revisit building this movement of this flower here. Right into that front, maybe just the tiny bit of white so it lightens it just a touch but doesn't turn it pink. There, that's kind of nice. There we go. See, you get the nice shape to that flower there. And restate your dark again every once in a while, especially like over that there. I like that. And if you make a mistake with it or something, just paint it back out. That's the easy part of it. Paint it back out. Get a little bit of a yellowy green here. Dirty brush. There, like that. And let's take some of that right down here. So I got that a little high, so I'm just going to drop one right down here like that and use that one to come off of to make like a little leaf here. Let's get some of that light there. I was mentioning earlier about the bristles, the different type of bristles. Well, now all your bristles, because we manufacture bristles and everything, but all your bristle is made in China, and of course it's the pig. It's the hair of the pig, and it was really interesting because the bristles. So we can't make a bristle brush like what Couchois used or Louis Ashton Knight. So we'll never be able to get those particular edges exactly the same as he got in those edges. And our hand's different. But you see, it was when I did a lot of research into brushes and the making of brushes, especially with rose mauling, that's what we did. Because we talked about, when did they use the red sable, brushes and so on and so forth. But the pigs, they used to come from the Black Forest area of Germany, the pigs. And before they harvest the pigs make the bristle from the hair, they run them through the forest, and all of the brambles and briars and all that kind of stuff they'd be running through all that, and what that did was just frizz their hair, would frizz the hair of the pig, the boar's hair, the bristles, what we call the hog hair bristles, but it would fray it all out. And that's where their bristles were a little bit softer on the tip, just a little bit softer than what we get now, but they also fractured the tips a little bit more than they do now, so it's not quite as stiff. And they did that for hundreds of years. That's how they made their bristle brushes, and that's where the most famous area of bristle brushes and stuff came from, was in the Black Forest of Germany. Mine's just a little bit blue right in here, so I'll just get that nice, cool, real dark right here. And you can use that to paint out or shape up anything over there just a bit. Yeah, and maybe a bit of that green and stuff into that too. I just really enjoy green and burnt sienna and on the sides. It's a real dark color, but not quite as sharp, intense as your blue blacks can get. And so that just looks nice. You get some of that in there. Remember the round part of our lips, we'll keep that shadow down here to the low part. But this is where I love to just really kind of play these colors like this in here. And he even plays a little bit of that burnt sienna strike, which is actually coming from the reddish kind of flowers there. And we'll take a bit of that dark out here and just take a touch of that light out of that just a bit there. And, other little things just to kind of play and finish up. But I'll finish up my lights there and some of the lights that are around through here. Maybe add a few more little things, which you can do. Just, how much you do, that's up to you. In the painting, how much light that you want to add. Do you want to change a few things? It's time to make it yours as well. You can change a few things on there. Using your bristle, if you feel that some of your strokes are a little bit too perfect, don't have that nice little granulated edge on them and stuff, go to a bristle. Also changing out the bristle to like a little, like the little #1 filbert turned onto its side makes a great little edge too, and gives you a nice granulated edge. I kind of like those. I'll use that, and you can even come back. Just say you take a light color like this, you can come back and just granulate through like this, and that gives you a little different look to some of that. Really, thanks very much for trying this one out. It's a lot of fun, and it'll give you some of that different types of brush movements. It is also pretty. Like before I started today, I once sat down and I really liked it with that real casual type of look. So, and that's my biggest caution against anybody that's painting Couchoir for the very first time. And, because he was a little bit stiffer on some of his stuff and some of these multi-petal flowers than he was like on his peonies and stuff that he learned from Pettit. But if you like it the way it was with that casual thing, you can, you don't have to do quite as much. But there's also one other thing to remember, is that you're trying to learn how to change your brush and learn different things. And I've always been a big advocate of don't always paint what you like, paint what you need to help, further your artistic journey. Okay, so and that's what I'm trying to do with this class, is to show you a whole bunch of different ways of doing things. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to do this week I'll put up another video on here about how do I use some of the different ways that I paint this type of movement that Couchoir taught me in flowers that I do. Then we're going to go take a look at Mortemans, and then we're going to take a look at some of the most beautiful Napoleon III flowers, and then we're going to take a look at finding your own style. So we still got a ways to go, but we're going to have a fun fall here of painting into winter a little bit. Okay, I'll see you on the next lesson.